Logan is a film I saw in the cinema that blew me away. My quick review was glowing, and I saw this as recently as a couple of months ago as part of a triple bill with the Deadpool films. This was even one of the selections for the 50th Film Review Open Challenge, as it's one I really wanted to do. However, I also remember certain plot points which I didn't enjoy, and my critical eye has in the past caused me to find faults when analysing films I really like. So let's sharpen our claws one more time. Here's my review of Logan. In the year 2029, Logan, previously known as Wolverine, is driving a limousine to make ends meet. For the most part this works out okay, but after a gang tried to steal his wheels whilst he's asleep inside and then shoot him point blank with a shotgun, he recovers and rips them apart. This catches the attention of a Hispanic woman who begs Logan for help, and of Donald Pierce, who wants to know where this woman is. Logan helps neither of them. Instead, he heads to Mexico, where albino mutant tracker Caliban is babysitting Charles Xavier, who in his old age has become unstable. Using drugs purchased illegally, Logan sedates Charles to prevent another incident like the Westchester incident, where several X-Men were killed. The Hispanic woman tracks Logan again and offers him $20,000 cash to drive her and her daughter to North Dakota. Logan agrees and goes to tell Caliban and Charles, but when he returns to her motel room later, she's been killed and the daughter is missing. Logan drives back to the hideout but discovers that the young girl has snuck back in his car. The girl, Laura, is a mutant whom Charles has been able to communicate with despite her not speaking English. However, shortly afterwards, Donald and a lot of backup arrive to take her away. Laura turns out to be made using Logan's DNA and so inherit his mutant abilities. Logan, Charles and the girl escape, but Caliban is captured. The three mutants head to Oklahoma City to get a new car and decide what to do next. The girl wants to head to North Dakota, where a so-called haven exists for mutants like her. She's one of many children which have been bred in captivity to become weapons for the military. However, the project failed and so the order was given to kill them all. The nurses, one of whom was the Hispanic woman named Gabriella, help the children escape and head to this haven. Logan, however, notices that the haven is from an X-Men comic and does not believe that it's real. Donald and what's left of his soldiers catch up to and ambush the mutants, but this stress triggers another attack by Charles, which Logan stops from being fatal in the nick of time. They escape again and stop next to help a family of farmers after their horses get loose on the freeway. To thank them, the family invite the makeshift family for dinner and to rest for the night. However, the military, now led by Dr. Xander Rice, arrive whilst Logan and the father Will go to sort out an issue with the locals involving the water supply. Logan seemingly goes to see Charles as he falls asleep and stabs him in the chest. However, this Logan looks younger and stronger and doesn't talk at all. He is X-24, the next generation of Weapon X, and he slaughters the entire family and nearly kills Logan until Will hits him with his truck, dropping dead shortly afterwards when he tries and fails to shoot the original Logan. Charles is dead, Caliban sacrifices himself rather than help the military or be tortured anymore, and Logan and Laura escape again. The battle's taken a lot out of Logan though, who's not healing as fast as he once did. Laura takes him to a doctor and then takes over the driving until they reach the coordinates for the haven. The child mutants at the lookout will be heading to the haven in the next few days when they are sure everyone's made it. After several days of recuperating, Logan wakes up and fights one more time when the military locate the children once again and try to take them all down. Logan fights until the end but is mortally wounded by X-24, who is then shot in the head by Laura with an adamantium bullet. Logan dies with her in his arms. The children bury his body and continue on to the haven. Logan is a very different type of X-Men movie. Not like Dark Phoenix different, it's more gritty, more hardcore, more grown up. The first word spoken by Logan is an F-bomb, and shortly afterwards he rips the gang to literal pieces. And this scene, aside from setting up the world the story is set in, also sets the pace for the movie. Once the shock of this tone shift has died down, the film is okay. I don't think it's as strong as I initially thought, but that's not to say this is a bad film. The heroes of the film are the real heart of the movie. What more needs to be said about Hugh Jackman as Logan? He is the quintessential perfect casting choice for the character. We see a much more worn down, broken down Wolverine than we've seen previously, and Jackman really makes you feel for him. He's not a classic hero, showing almost complete disregard for Caliban and Laura initially, focusing on getting Charles and him onto the Sunseeker, a yacht where they can sail off into the sunset. I get a strong of mice and men vibe from this story, and you have to wonder if Logan was going to kill Charles out in the open sea before killing himself. After all, he does carry that adamantium bullet with him for a reason, right? The bullet acts as Chekhov's gun, which is paid off by Laura killing X-24. I quite like this as a plot device. Charles too is a far cry from when we first see him in X-Men, rambling incoherently, very few moments of lucidity, but still retaining his caring nature when he discovers Laura. The world hasn't had New Mutants for years and years, and so Charles has lost his purpose. Now this is all speculation on my part though. Daphne Keane as Laura does a great job playing a savage girl bred in captivity who barely speaks, to someone who by the end calls Logan Daddy. I love her character development and the neat little fact that females of Logan's mutant ability have foot claws. I am in two minds though over the reason given for no new mutants in the world. It's told to us that the water and food supply has been spiked with a mutant suppressing serum, presumably the cure from X-Men Last Stand, with the only mutants being ones created as government weapons. Do you know what else is told to us? The Westchester incident, something that's recapped in a radio news bulletin but really should have been shown to the viewer as a flashback or maybe even as a prologue. The old writing rule of show don't tell should apply here, and I'm sure a decent editor could cut certain aspects of the film, such as most of Caliban's involvement. I have no issue with Stephen Merchant's performance, I actually really like it, but the reason for him being here seems to be to tell the viewer, via a conversation with Logan, about what he's been going through. It's almost as if there is a film missing in between this and the previous one. After Caliban is captured, there's no need for the torture or self-sacrifice on the farm. Is he being used to show how evil the villains are? Because that's just not necessary. Let's talk about the villains briefly. They are the weakest aspect in the story in my opinion, and that's such a shame. Donald Pierce appears to have no special ability other than a robot claw and the fact he isn't killed until the end. He's nothing special and frankly very disappointing. As is Richard E. Grant as Xander Rice, no relation to Declan. A waste of a great actor who in recent times seems to be playing the same villain in multiple projects. Xander Rice is the villain's exposition device who's killed off quickly in the last act. Finally, there's X-24, a younger, stronger, more feral version of Logan, which is such a lazy story trope. I called it out in the Terminator franchise and I'm calling it out here. 3 villains and not a strong character between them. I will say the look of the film is really good, a mostly yellow desert-like haze throughout, making things look older and more run down. And I don't normally bring this up in reviews, but the makeup on Logan is amazing. The scars that now form because of his adamantium poisoning instead of fully healing. The fact that Hugh Jackman in 2017 looks 15 years older than he does in 2023. It really adds the depth and immersion of the world. The soundtrack too is low energy and adds to the atmosphere. A minimalist soundtrack proving that less is more. There's no definitive song throughout, no nod to the X-Men sting at all, and the credits plays the Johnny Cash song When the Man Comes Around, a wonderful track. The trailer uses his cover of Hurt, which was the first time I saw it, and it is an amazing cover. Initially I thought the reason for Logan not healing was due to the events in The Wolverine. Oh, God, I must have been talking about The Wolverine again. The one thing from The Wolverine that I do like the callback from is the prophecy that Logan would die with his heart in his hands, which you would assume would be literal, but instead turns out to be his daughter, Laura. Wonderful stuff, and the only thing from The Wolverine that's worth mentioning. Logan was very well received and was nominated for an Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay. I believe the comic book series is Old Man Logan, but I may be wrong. There was talk of a Laura spin-off, but it doesn't look like that's happening now. Earlier in the script I said what more needs to be said about Hugh Jackman as Logan. Well, this needs to be added. His role in Logan earned him the Guinness World Record for longest career as a live-action Marvel superhero, with 9 films in 17 years. Logan was the fitting end for the character. So let's talk Deadpool 3 for a moment. As of writing, this film has not been released, and I really hope these words don't bite me in the arse. I'm going to be a hypocrite here because as much as they should have ended Wolverine's story with Logan, I am giddy at the prospect of him coming back to team with Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool, and the shot of Jackman in the yellow costume. I cannot wait to see it. Deadpool is my favourite Marvel film of all time, and if this is the finale of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, then hopefully that'll be great too, just as long as they don't resurrect Logan. Logan is a very good character piece for such a long-standing and beloved character. The story is good and the atmosphere throughout is fantastic. Unfortunately, the villains and certain plot points don't quite hit right, which stops it from being a great film overall. This is also a film I can really only recommend to those who like the X-Men in the first instance. This is not a starter film to introduce you to these characters. X-Men fans will love this film, even if it's not as sharp as I once thought it was.
Thank you for making it this far. If you like what you see, please feel free to give this video a like and share it around. Maybe leave a comment below about what you thought of this video. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel so you can get notified when I upload new videos. If you'd like to support me in other ways, you can buy merchandise at bradleyj.tmail.com, where you can buy t-shirts and tote bags. Or you can become a patron at www.patreon.com/BradleyJVoices for just £1 a month.
Coming up next for the Film Review Open Challenge is Mr. and Mrs. Smith. For now though, thank you very much for watching.